This week, a Harris County grand jury was considering charges against Planned Parenthood, accused of illegally selling fetal tissue and body parts. Instead, the jurors indicted two anti-abortion activists who instigated the investigation. Their defense attorneys call the grand jury rogue, saying the case against Planned Parenthood should be represented. Harris County District Attorney Devin Anderson says the grand jury's decision will stand, barring any new evidence in the case.
Anyone who pays attention knows that I'm pro-life. I believe abortion is wrong, but my personal belief does not relieve me of my obligation to follow the law. We have a long-standing policy against grand juries shopping. That means that when a grand jury comes back with a decision we don't like, we don't go and find another one to get the result we want.
Because they used fake California driver's licenses in their dealings with Planned Parenthood, Daleiden and Sandra Merritt are charged with the felony of tampering with a government record. So we've heard from the district attorney's office, and now we'll hear from one of the indicted pair's attorneys and his plans for what could be a lengthy court battle. Joining us live in the newsroom is our panel, led by our senior legal analyst, Chris Tritico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. Jared Woodfill, who is the defense attorney, joins them with more on what's at stake here and what the next steps are going to be. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Thank you. And thank you, Jared, for being here. Jared's a frequent guest host, and today he's here as a guest to talk about his clients, and he told us off the air, because I'm a guest, you have to treat me nice. Sorry, Jared.
Not happening, huh?
The issue in this, I believe everyone was probably surprised at the grand jury's decision here on this case. But I agree with Devin Anderson that when a grand jury, and in Harris County especially, it's been my entire 27-year career, the policy in Harris County has been when a grand jury makes a decision, that's the decision, and we're not going to take it back to subsequent grand juries just because the DA didn't agree with the decision that the grand jury made. That's the way it is, and we move forward. And defense, in their press conference, Jared Woodfill and Terry Yates said that this is a First Amendment issue. So let me ask you right off the bat, Jared, where's the First Amendment protection for forging government documents?
Well, let's back up. These are two individuals that have gone all around the country. They've exposed what's going on in these abortion mills, Planned Parenthood. They've showed that this organization has been trafficking baby body parts. And the techniques that they use are no different than techniques investigative journalists have been using for decades.
Except they don't lie.
Well, absolutely. That's not correct, Chris. What happened is, and let's look at the statute itself. You're the criminal defense lawyer. You know this very well. There's a very big intent requirement that's part of the tampering with governmental records statute. Specifically, not only does the record have to be tampered with, but you have to show that they intended to defraud or harm. All these heroes were doing was trying to expose the truth, to show what's happening, to prove they were trafficking in baby body parts.
Do you have any case that says there's a First Amendment protection for forging a governmental document?
Well, there's plenty of cases out there protecting the rights and privileges of investigative journalists, and rightfully so, because think about the chilling effect this has on the next individual who sees wrongful conduct, wants to report it, and says, well, maybe I shouldn't because my DA would go after me. So it's a bad precedent to set.
Governor Abbott has said that he accepts what is going on in Harris County, but the state will continue with their own investigation. So how do you see that actually in playing with your defense of your clients?
Well, absolutely. I mean, and there's more than one investigation. Lieutenant Governor has called for an investigation. There's a Senate panel that's looking at it. Governor Abbott, our Attorney General Ken Paxton, they are all investigating this. And as you know, you can take that exact same evidence and present it to another grand jury. We call this a runaway grand jury because these were individuals. I mean, if you look at that video, number 5, Center for Medical Progress video number 5, it's pretty darn clear. But what happens in a grand jury proceeding, nobody knows. What I do know is this: the Planned Parenthood attorney came out and said that they didn't even vote on Planned Parenthood. How he knows that, I don't know, but the reality is something happened in that room that wasn't right.
A runaway grand jury I'm sorry, Mustafa, I know you want to ask a question. A runaway grand jury to me sounds like a lawyer who loses a case and says that judge is an activist judge. That's the same thing. A grand jury is impaneled to do an investigation. They did an investigation. The fact that you don't like their result does not make that grand jury a rogue.
Well, here's what it sounds like to me. It sounds like to me that there's a prosecutor in there directing the evidence. As we know in grand jury proceedings, the prosecutor has the ultimate control. The other side is not there. So he or she chooses what evidence is actually presented and how it is presented. So the result tells me it's a runaway grand jury. I've seen those videos. You've seen those videos. And to me, it's very clear Planned Parenthood is trafficking in baby body parts.
Well, look, those videos are highly edited videos, and you call them heroes and you call them journalists, but in reality what they are activists that maliciously went into a an agency and tried to defraud the rest of us in editing these videos.
Well, first of all, I would argue that they have been edited significantly. Secondly, I would say all they were doing was exposing the truth. What does Planned Parenthood have to hide? Well, that videos show what they have to hide. It's very clear that it's an organization that is actually taking baby body parts and selling them for a profit. On top of that, there's been subsequent records that have been unveiled through Freedom of Information requests showing that even groups here locally are purchasing those parts. And so that's what we're going to present to the
Jared, if you keep repeating something, that doesn't mean because it's true, right? I mean, I think
well,
you keep saying the videos are edited. Everybody's agreed those are edited videos.
How do you edit a video that says, yeah, we're willing to pay you some money for these baby parts?
Because they were paying.
Hang on, Mustafa. We're almost out of time, and Jackie wants to ask a question. Let me ask you one more question. You said that they're selling it for a profit. Didn't Mr. what's his name? Daleiden offer $1,800 and Planned Parenthood turned him down. Isn't that true?
Well, first of all, they didn't turn them down, one, but that's the second misdemeanor charge that's against him and not against Sandra.
But Planned Parenthood said no to that.
No. Actually, they didn't. The reality is, if you are going to buy something, there has to be a seller. And so under that statute, they've got some very big problems. That's, what's sad about this, though, Chris, too, is that tampering with the government document, you can receive 20 years. Purchasing baby body parts or organs,
well, that's
it's a misdemeanor.
That's the legislature's issue. Go ahead, Jackie.
When the story first came out, we realized that they were doing something that was morally wrong, and the fact that if it was actually illegal was always in question. And so it was a surprise when the grand jury came back and flipped it on us and said, actually, we're looking at your clients. How will you play into that what Planned Parenthood was doing is morally wrong, and how will the moral compass play into the defense of your client?
Sure. In Harris County, we're talking about one video, number 5, but there's a series of videos, up to 65 of them show you that what's happening around the country in these facilities. This DA doesn't have to act on the indictment, and I'm hopeful that Devin Anderson says no, that she will take the same evidence and present it to another grand jury, and ultimately Planned Parenthood will stop trafficking in baby body parts.
All right, we're going to have to leave it right there. Jared, thank you so much for coming in. Was that as friendly as you hoped?
It was wonderful. Y'all are the best.